Today, I want to talk about how we have a belief that we are animals, but we also didn't want to be animals because we're not animals. So think about this. If you go out into the wild, like wolves and lions and all this kind of thing, all these animals, they have their hierarchies. They fight to mate and procreate and survive and fight for dominance and live a short life and then die, right? Like animals have a way. And that's not exactly what we want for ourselves as human beings because we create systems of morality and philosophy and we have these beliefs that are different than what animals believe, like the idea of pursuing things purely for the sake of our enjoyment or for the sake of helping other people. So, to say that we are animals, it doesn't matter if you're a religious person or you're an agnostic person or what. Like, it doesn't matter if you are religious or otherwise. We all agree we're not animals. And even if we were to agree that we're physiologically animals in a sense, we're not the same as wolves and lions and things of that nature. We're evolved at a different level. We're not those things, right? We all agree on this. I mean, like, I guess if you want to say that you're exactly the same as a wolf or a lion, well, think that to your heart's content, but you know it's not true. Now, we also, as we compare ourselves to animals, we embrace these ideas which are fundamentally animalish. Maybe it's a guy who wants to be an alpha male, who thinks it would be just so cool to be like the leader of the pack, the wolf pack, you know, top dog, right? Well, okay, it's fine. But you're not a wolf. Or maybe it's a woman with kind of sort of that maternal instinct, like that desire to be taken care of and to have the man who will fight for her and will, bring home the meat. Well, okay, that's fine. Except you're not a female dog being taken care of by an alpha at the top of the pack. Like, we are human beings. See? And you can say, yes, but it's, we still have our instincts. And that's fine. But all the people who want to benefit from the plus side, the top side, the fun part of comparing ourselves to animals, they also don't want to be lowered to the bottom part, the lower end of what it means to be an animal. Because if you want to be the top dog and you want to be in a wolf pack kind of situation, then you also have to understand that you have no right to expect compassion. You have no right to expect that anyone's going to care about you other than yourself. You have no right to believe that we should be living by some sort of a higher moral code as human beings. Because if you want to compare yourself to an animal, then you're going to have to take the whole package and understand that it's dog eat dog, fight, and if you run out of energy or you run out of health, then you can go die, right? And we don't want to really believe that. Nobody wants to believe that. They just want to have the fantasy, the fun fantasy of being, imagining themselves as the top dog. But they don't actually want to be left alone to die whenever they become a little bit weak, right? Nobody wants that. Like, everybody wants that maybe when they're young and healthy, but when you're old and you're weak and you're frail and you realize that there's nobody there to take care of you because you spent your whole life just trying to be macho and trying to flex on everybody, then, you're not gonna believe any of that stuff anymore. Not at that point. Like, when you're young and you want to believe the fallacy that you're going to live forever and you're basically a god, then all this stuff is fun to believe. But once reality hits home and you realize that you are a mortal being and you do need other people, then that's not fun anymore. Same thing with, maybe it's that feminine side, the women who believe that they want to be taken care of. They want to be, the she wolf that just stays there with the puppies and waits for the leader of the pack to come home with a fresh kill for her while she sits there. Well, that's fine until you realize that there's a downside to that too. Like if you're a woman and you want a man to take care of you, then you're going to have to forfeit your rights. You don't get to have both ways. You don't get to go say, all right, I'm going to not work and just kind of sit around and wait for somebody to be like sugar daddy or take care of me, or man of the house is going to provide for everything I need, and then also believe that you're going to have rights and privileges and that you're going to be able to be empowered and have free will and be self-determined. You can't do that. You can't sell yourself as a slave and then also expect that you are going to be somehow liberated at the same time. It's one or the other. And that's, again, like women are human beings too. They're not female dogs, right? So maybe there's that desire to have the fantasy, just like it's a fantasy for the guy who wants to be the macho alpha. It's the fantasy for a lot of women to be the one that's taken care of by the macho alpha, until it comes time to give up their freedom, to give up their individuality, to when it comes time to give up all those things that they want, well then maybe suddenly it's not appealing anymore. It's not appealing in the same way. You want to be taken care of, well then you're not going to have rights. You want to have rights and you want to have liberty, then you're going to take care of yourself. You're going to be accountable for your actions. And we see this in life. We see it in society. A lot of these tendencies people have to want to eat the cake and have it too. They want to be able to say, we're basically just animals, smart animals. But then we also want to benefit from this idea that we're moral creatures on a higher level. Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I believe in nothing. I don't believe that there's any such thing as moral code, and then go out there and say, how dare you not believe in my idea of a moral code. Well, if you don't believe that there is such a thing as right or wrong, then that's fine, but you don't get to go out there and then judge people for not believing it. And this is true in so many different aspects of life. It's true in relationships, it's true in sexuality, it's true in, socio-political things like the abortion debate, right? Like, okay, I'll tell you the truth. Like, I'm an agnostic. I have a sense of moral compass, and I also believe that most people are right and also wrong at the same time. And I'll tell you the truth. The truth is that life begins at conception. You don't like it? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, that's the truth, right? Now, does that mean that every single abortion should be illegal? Does that mean that, there's never, a time to make a decision to do something that ends life? I don't know. That's a complicated subject. But what I am going to tell you is that you can't go out there and say it's not life, because I don't want to say that we're ending life, so therefore it's not life, even though it is. No, you gotta buck up and deal with the fact. Accept the truth. Abortion is all about ending human life. And we can then say that not all human life is equal. We can say that there's certain times when some life is more important or valuable than others, and then try to kind of weigh it in the balance and then talk about, okay, where do we draw this line or something? That's a complicated thing. People keep going on about that. However, where I take offense is people who want to lie to themselves. It's that idea of, I don't want to have to be held to a higher level of accountability as a person. I just want to be able to say I'm basically just an animal, so anything goes. But I also want the security and the benefits and the privileges of an advanced civilization that is based on the moral premise that we are higher and superior to animals. Or, you can't have these contradictions and then also be successful in life. You've got to accept the truth, let it be what it is, let it stand for what it is. And then, make up your own mind and figure out what you want to do and what you want to believe. But don't peddle lies. Don't go hook, line, and sinker for a fantasy that sounds good while you put blinders on to the other side. Because, every coin has two sides. You want to compare yourself to an animal, that's fine, but not fine if you want the benefits of not being an animal. You can eschew morality and say you don't believe in any kind of moral values, but you don't get to do that and then also want the protection of a society that is rooted in the premise of moral values. We need to stop deceiving ourselves and accept the fact. Learn to be comfortable with the fact of a duality of different things, and learn to stop trying to act as if there's these clean buckets of good and bad, and we need to stop being absolutists on things. And then just embrace the concept that truth is truth and you have to be accountable for your actions. Just leave it there. And then you can respect other people. You can respect other people because you understand that even if we disagree on the path of how to get somewhere, we at least agree on this fundamental that truth is an absolute. True north. Doesn't matter how you guide your life, you can still look up and see the North Star, right? There's nothing worse than the self-deceived person. Liars who don't lie to other people, they lie to themselves so much that they actually believe 100% the lie that they told themselves. And then they go out and they try to convince other people to think the way they do, because they've actually convinced themselves so deeply that they don't know that they're telling lies, because they pull the wool over their own eyes. I mean, that's really crazy, and yet it's all over the place. The best thing you can ever do is accept the fact that everything you believe, everything you've ever been told might be false, probably is false. To some degree, it's false. And then be open to asking questions. And don't put yourself into a bucket and say, I'm a this or I'm a that. I'm a conservative or whatever it might be. You got to be open-minded to say, I don't know what I believe. I have an idea of where I stand, but I don't know everything. That's a foundation for wisdom. It's a foundation for respect. That's where all good things come from. That spirited justice and wisdom that isn't super sure that it's right. Thanks for watching.